Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, good
I am
morning.
so good. There are so many big things happening this week. I don't know. Allison,
That's good.
what's the energy like? Allison, give us an energy reading because I'm feeling some good stuff.
Energy is all over the place right now. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of doors opening, a lot of portals closing. So it's just a big energy week, period.
Man, I tell you, it's exciting though. I love all the things happening in my world this week. It's been a good week. How about you guys?
That's amazing. My week's been mixed. It's been a lot of just stuff, getting
Uh-oh. I'm frozen. Why am I frozen?
stuff. I don't see you frozen.
I think I froze for a minute, but hopefully I'm back.
You're
No,
back.
you're good.
But it's all good. We have amazing people onboarding. I've got a lot of deals in the works. It's the doors are opening, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Hi, Crystal. Good morning, Justin, Mark,
Hey, good
Morning.
Rob,
morning.
Tucker in the house. Good morning, Mike, Anika, Caitlin.
Morning.
Let a few more folks come in. This Friday morning call is a mastermind call. It's our Power Players is the name of our little group here. It is not downline organization agnostic. It's anyone can join us at Epic, and we love supporting and helping all agents grow and be the best we can be. And the weekly call is monitored by, or I don't know, moderated, I guess, not monitored, but moderated by myself. I'm the Tennessee State Broker, Justin Graham, who's our Indiana State Broker, and Mike Blake, who's our Michigan State Broker. And then we've got a lot of great area leaders that are on this call every week that are just constantly adding value and inviting the people in their areas to join us. We also have a group in Agent Portal called the Power Players. So if you guys want to find our group and be a member of it, we will post snippets of recordings from these meetings every Friday in that group so that you can, if you miss a meeting, you can go back and still get a nugget from it, even if you miss the whole meeting. So, Justin, what's going on with you?
Oh, not much. Just here in rainy Indiana land. Got a big Friday of appointments planned and
Good.
just
That's
chugging
awesome.
along. Had a pretty successful week so far. So
Awesome. Awesome. I see a lot of new faces on this call today. So welcome everyone if it's your first time. And while we're still letting people in the room for a minute or two more, do you want to just come off mute and just say hello and tell us your name, where you're at, and how long you've been with Epic? We'd love to just meet you if you're new. Don't be
Hey,
shy.
Vicki. Hi, this is Sandra Wood. I'm in Michigan, Lake Orion, Michigan. And I think one of my coworkers, Kristen, is here with me as well today. So I moved over 2 weeks ago from my former brokerage, and I think tomorrow we're going to be at 12.
That's
So I'm more than doubled in
awesome.
size since I've moved over, and it's been amazing. And hey, we're just hanging on for dear life right now. It's a great ride.
Awesome, Sandra. Welcome. Welcome to you and to Kristen. Who else is new to the group, wants to say hello? Tell us where you're from.
My name's Mike Salsa. I'm now in Tennessee, at least for the moment, but I'm living in the Virgin Islands. And
Okay.
I'm here, I'm just here basically to watch and learn and just kind of take it all in.
Awesome. So
welcome, Mike.
Do you have your Tennessee license, Mike?
No, I do not.
We need to fix that because I'm the Tennessee broker and I want you here. So we got to fix that. We got to talk. Who else? Anybody else want to say hello this morning? And then we're going to jump into our call. Yes. Is it Dajit? How do you pronounce your name?
Yes, it's Daljit.
Daljit? Hi.
Daljit. Hi, I'm from Michigan. I joined Epic around like 2.5 weeks ago. 17th February. I came back from EXP Realty. I was with the team, with the Perna team. So I'm a new agent. I just got my license in November month. So a few months. Yeah. So
Well,
just joined.
welcome to Epic. You
Thank
have an amazing state broker and Jill, his operations
Yeah.
manager. So you have a lot of support in Michigan. So you're going to do great.
you. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? And then we're going to start the call. Is anybody else new to this group for the first time? Wants to say hello? All right. Well, let's get to it, you guys. So every week we either have a topic where we will kind of present a topic and mastermind around that. Sometimes we just open it up for conversations. We want to know what you're struggling with and how we can help you. Always good stuff that comes out of these meetings. But today we have a special guest star who's going to do his open house training for you guys because spring is in the air. Even in Michigan, trust me, it's coming. Spring is coming, you guys. And what a great season to get out there and start pumping out some work, filling up your pipeline, getting ready for a lot of spring and summer closings, and building your wealth. Is so we've got the amazing Rob Tucker. He lives in the Johnson City, Tennessee area. He's also owns a coaching platform called the Rockstar Agent. And Rob wants to share with us all his good stuff about open houses. So Rob, take it away.
Well, thanks, Vicky. I appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. All right, so I've got a question for you guys before we start. How many of you love open houses? Mark, I know you do. You're biased, so you can't say anything. But right, how many of you love open houses? Show hands. No. Okay, so I'm doing that. All right, how many of you can't stand open houses and think they're a waste of time? Okay, we've got some yeses in there. All right, so let me ask you a question then. If I could show you how to get a minimum of 25 groups through every open house that you ever do for the rest of your life, would that be of interest to you? And would you start doing it? Okay. By the way, this is a participation thing. So you guys come off mute when you need to, all that kind of stuff. I can't stand talking to myself. All right. So let's talk about this for a second. And let me set the stage with this. Okay. I'm going to share screen. Oh, wait a minute, Vicky. Good. All right. Perfect. All right, so I want you guys to see this. Can you see the screenshot? Yes, good. Okay,
Yep.
So this is a text. This is a text message I got. Right, Rob, about to put my next property under contract. Put me at 10 million on the year in volume. Okay. All right. So let me put this in perspective for you. This person is a 22-year-old at that time, college graduate with no money, no contacts, no sphere of influence, nothing. This is 10 months into his business and the start of real estate. 10 months. Guess what he did?
Open house.
Only. That is it. Open houses. You got it, Monica. All right. So let me show you what happened because he continued this process. This is the text message that I got on February the 13th in his second year. Almost at 3.5 million closed and pending in the first month and 13 days of 22. This is his second year in the business. This is 1 month and 13 days, i.e. 43 days into his second year in the business. And he's at 3.5 million in that period of time. How many of you would think that would be a good thing? Okay, let me go back to that other question. Guess what he did? Only. Annika, you want to guess again?
Open houses?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah. All right. So here's the thing about this. And by the way, let me just give you the rest of that story. Sam committed to doing an open house every weekend for his first 6 months in the business. Week number 1, nothing. He was terrible, right? Week number 2, guess what? He got a little bit better. Week number 3, a little bit better. By month number 5 of when he started this, month number 5, he closed 2.5 million. Month number 6, 2.5 million. Right? So it is a process of doing this. And what he told me as he was doing this, he said, you know, the first time I did it just like everybody else did. I put this sign in the front yard. Actually, I put 2 open house signs in the front yard. I put one at the closest corner, and I hoped and prayed that people would come by. Anybody experienced that before? Right? Okay. And guess what happens when that happens? That's not much, right? And then he got a little bit better. He started following the process. He started following the checklist. And by the way, I have a checklist for you guys as well. Mark, it's pretty close to yours. It's good, right? Okay. But you'll like it. There are a couple differences in there, but here's the thing. If I am going to go into a new area and I've built 3 teams, 2 of them hit $60 million in year number 3, and the third one hit $100 million in year number 4. In that 4th team, we finally figured out the real way of doing open houses. And of that 100 million, 35 of it was from open houses. 35 million in a year from open houses. Okay. When we're looking at real estate, we look at different types of lead generation, right? And there are 100 different types of lead generation. There are a dime a dozen, all that stuff, right? The challenge is that there are 2 types of lead generation. There's 90-day and below lead generation. In other words, buyers and sellers who are looking to make a move within the next 30, 60, 90 days, 90 days and below. And then there's 90 days and beyond, buyers and sellers that are beyond 90 days, right? If we're struggling, if we're going into something, and guys, this coming quarter, we are in that part of it where people are starting to naturally increase their interest in buying and selling. We are looking, and this process is a 90-day and below. In other words, your entire intention is to get in front of as many people as possible that are looking to either buy or sell a property within the next 30, 60, 90 days. And this is how you do it. If you drop me into an area and I know nothing and I have no money and I have no sphere of influence and I don't know what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. And I guarantee you that I'll exceed 10 million in sales over the next 12 months if I do this process. All right, anybody in? Are you ready? All right, cool. So let's get to it. Here's the first process of an open house. And this is one of the first mistakes that I see agents do. They come into it and they say, yes, I'm going to go sit at this $1 million house. I'm going to go sit at this $2 million house. It's on the water. It's awesome. It's great. Anybody have that? Yeah, everybody want to sit on it because we watched HGTV and we get this visions of grandeur and we want to go sit in the $1 million house or above or things like that because it's pretty. So how many people are in the market to buy a $1 million house? So already you limited the people that are going to walk through that property, right? From day one, from the second that you pick that property, you limited how many people are going to walk through it. So the first piece that we want to do is we want to find the right open house. By the right open house, here's what I mean by that. Look at the average price point in your area. If it's $300,000, guess what property price point you want to find? $300,000, right? Maybe even a little bit less, 250 to 3, somewhere in there, maybe 3 to 325. Okay, if you're in a 500, guess what you find? $500,000. What that does is that gives you the broadest opportunity to hit the most amount of people from the second that you pick that open house, because guess what? That's where the majority of buyers are, right? They're in that price point. So if your price point is $300,000 and you're in a town of 100,000 people, right? But you have this $1 million listing over here and you want to go do the 300,000 or the million, which one do you think you're going to get 30, 60, 90-day buyers walking through? 300,000. I mean, it's kind of a duh, right? Well, yeah, all right, okay, right? Here's the other piece of that too. We want to find the average home for that area. So if you're in an area and your average home is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath brick home with a 1-car garage, guess what you want to look for? A $300,000 property that's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-brick, 1-car garage, right? This all makes sense, right? But we don't do this in a lot of cases. We want to find that pretty home that we saw on HGTV and go sit there because we think we're going to, it looks cool. The challenge with this is we want to change that paradigm, change that mindset so that we are talking to as many people as possible. Because the only way that we get in front of people is when we can get in front of people. I know that sounds redundant, doesn't it? Right? So you want as many people coming to you as possible. Now, here's the other piece with this as well. How many of you love cold calling? Okay, only the D's on this. The DISC, the disc test, right? Okay, I see no's coming through in the chat, right? Exactly. So the ones that aren't willing to do cold call, what do you want to do? You want people to come to you, don't you? Right? So why wouldn't you put yourself in front of an opportunity for people to come to you instead of you having to call them? Huh. All right. So all this making sense, by the way, so far? Okay. So $300,000 average price, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, brick home, 1-car garage, average home. Third qualification process, no more than 2 or 3 turns off of a major road. So if you've got a major road, and let's say that you've got, anybody familiar with, here, I'll give you a perfect example. Sarasota, Florida. Okay, anybody familiar with Sarasota? Okay, or wherever, I mean, what's the major, major roads that are in your area? If I can find a property, an open house that is no more than 2 turns or 3 turns off of that road, don't you think when I put a directional sign on that road that more people will see it? Right? All of this is it's logical explanation in the process, isn't it? But we have a tendency not to go through this process to pick the right open home. And if we pick the wrong open home that's too hard to get to, too much, not the right average home, then we limit the people that are looking for that property. We're not going to get in front of enough people to generate the business that we want to. All right. So let me show you what happens with this too. By the way, if you guys all committed over the next 6 months to do one of these every week, I know now you're going, well, that's a lot, right? That's a bunch. Well, if I told you that if you did one of these every week for the next 6 months, you would make $300,000, would that change the, oh, look, there's a bunch of people that just went, what? Huh? Right? Guys, that's what's going to happen if you follow this process, right? You will. Now, that's not a guarantee, right? Can't guarantee income, blah, 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 blah. But I'll tell you, every time somebody's done it, that's what's happened, right? All right, so let's get to it. You've got the right home. It's the average price. It's the average home. And it's no more than 2 or 3 turns off of a major street. So what do? Well, a couple of weeks before, and we always have this, and this is the easy part. We want to post it on social media. We want to post it on realtor.com. We want to post it in our MLS. We want to do all of that kind of stuff. That's great. You know what that does, though? It satisfies your seller. It's not going to generate traffic. Ooh, wait a minute. People go, hold on. Yes, it will. No, it won't. Let me tell you why. It's great to show your seller that you're doing it, right? But here's why. When people are looking for an open house, how do they find it? And when do they find it?
Driving around?
Yes, ma'am. Exactly, right? So we're a Saturday, we took the kids to soccer, we're coming home, all of a sudden we're driving, oh, let me go check out that neighborhood that's my favorite neighborhood over there here, and they're driving down the road and they see the sign, oh, look, it's an open house, why don't we stop? Right? Okay, sound interesting, right? So they drive by and they see the open house. Now, as you're doing this, now I'm not saying don't do all the social media and stuff. Yes, you want to do that because yes, you could get somebody through that, but that's not going to be the #1 generator of traffic. Okay. 2 days, either 1 or 2 days prior, you want to go, this is going to be the uncomfortable part of this, right? You want to actually go and you want to invite neighbors. You want to invite neighbors to come to your open house. How many do you do? 50 to 100 of those, right? You door knock on 50 to 100 and say, I want to invite you to our open house. Right? So the other piece of that too is interesting because it's not just that you're inviting them to the open house, but you're doing something else. When you're looking at the open house process, what is your target market? You may want to guess. Are you looking for buyers or sellers?
The sellers?
Yeah, in reality, right? Especially if you do it right. Okay. Now, yes, you want buyers because those are 30, 60, 90-day closings and you want to do that. But the reality too is you're looking for a longer term thing. You're looking to make an impression and start the persuasion process with a prospective seller, which are the ones that are in that neighborhood. So you're doing a couple of things. Let me show you this. And by the way, Vicki, I'm going to give everybody all of this. Okay. So see the door hanger? This is a door hanger, right? It's a door hanger that says, hey, you are invited, because we all have nosy neighbors. Does everybody have nosy neighbors? Is it okay? It's not just me that's a nosy neighbor. It's everybody else. All right, good. Just want to make sure I'm in the right place. All right. So we have nosy neighbors And if I knock on the door and I say, knock, 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 hey, Vicky, hey, I just wanted to let you know that we are having an open house at 123 Main Street. I wanted to do two things. I wanted to let you know that we are having that because we usually generate 20, 30, 40, 50 cars that are coming through here. And I just don't want you to panic that there's anything going on that's out of the ordinary. And I wanted to invite you to come by. I don't know if you've ever seen 123 Main Street. I don't know if you even knew what it was and how it compares to yours as well. But I wanted to invite you. And if you don't know if you are not interested yourself, who do you know that could potentially want to move into your neighborhood? Could you pass this invitation to them? So think about that process and think about that conversation. What is in that conversation? There are three things that are in that conversation that just happened. What are they?
Well, you're setting yourself apart, first of all, because they know most realtors, when they have open houses, put a sign in their yard and that's it. So you're showing the sellers that you are a hustler, that you're out there advocating for your client, that you're trying to draw traffic. And then when they want to list, they're going to want to list with you.
You got it. So think of the specific part of that too. Vicky, we generate 20, 30, 40, and 50 cars coming through a neighborhood to our general open houses. Wait a minute, you do what? How do you do that? Right? Does that set you apart right there from the second that you say it? Yeah, because what have they usually seen? Not many. They see exactly what Vicky just said. Mark's seen it. Everybody that's done an open house, you stick the sign in the yard, you stick one at the corner, and you hope and pray that people are going to come through, right? When you actually are saying that in their mind, now all of a sudden that's whoa, wait a minute, but how do you do that? And when it comes time for them to sell, what are they going to remember? Wait a minute, this person did 30, 40, 50 cars coming through. Second thing is, I'm inviting you to come by. Wow, that's nice. And the third thing, who do you know that could potentially move into your neighborhood? Where's the number one source of people moving into a neighborhood, by the way? Friends and family, right? So don't they know and don't they have conversations with people that say, I want to move into your neighborhood. I love your neighborhood. Well, yes, of course. So now you're giving them this invitation that they can pass on. Guess what? If you did just 10 of those that pass that invitation on, you have 10 people that are marketing your open house. Not just you. You now have 10 people that are talking about it. Hey, Frank. Hey, Crystal. Guess what? They're having an open house at 123 Main Street. You should come through because we talked about you moving into the neighborhood, right? Perfect. Now they're marketing for you as well. So guys, if you did this and you did 50 to 100 of those, how many of you are nervous about knocking on a door? You may? Okay. So usually it's because, well, I don't want to sell, right? I don't want to sell. I don't want to be they've got a no solicitation sign over there. Are you soliciting? Vicky, you may want to do this. Okay. All right. No, just kidding. Are you soliciting anything? No, you're doing a public service announcement to tell them that there's going to be a bunch of cars coming through, and you're also letting them know that that's what's going on, right? You're inviting them to something. You're not doing anything else. By the way, here's an interesting thing too. We started doing this a little bit, and I've seen other people do this, and I didn't think about it until later on in the process, but we actually started having a food truck that volunteered to come by, or a coffee or a donut shop in the morning. Hey, and it would come out there. Guys, that's a whole nother piece of it, but you want to talk about adding a layer to it. If you really want to make it interesting, try that one. Okay. All right. So that's 1 to 2 days prior to the open house. Why don't you do it a week before? Because they forget, right? They forget. You want to have a FOMO process. We're only doing this Saturday. It's between 10 and 12. By the way, come get a cup of coffee from Sweet Caroline's. They're going to be there. Whoa, that's cool, right? By the way, the cup of coffee is half price because Sweet Caroline's coming there. That's a whole different process, right? But we'll show you how to do that too. Okay. All right. So the morning of, this is where it gets interesting. I remember sitting at a house one time and watching the home beside that was for sale. And I saw this open house coming, the rider on the sign, it said open house 9 to noon on Saturday. And we're sitting there at about 8:45, 8:50 in the morning. And all of a sudden at about 8:55, here comes this car tearing into the parking lot. She pulls up in front of the house. She comes out. She puts 2 signs in front of the house, the open house signs in front of the house, 2, right? And then runs about 50 feet to the corner and puts another one down there. And then she went inside and started turning in all the lights and turning on all the lights. Okay. After she did that. Okay. Why wouldn't you do that at an hour prior to you actually doing it? My camera's doing this kind of thing. So let me make sure I take this off of this different piece of it. Hold on. I've got one of these fun cameras that actually changes. So give me just a second. Let me hold on just 1 second. Stay there.
It's good stuff. Hope everybody's taking lots of notes.
I feel like a failure.
Mike,
I'm that person he just described.
Mike.
All right. So it's okay, Mike. It's all right. We're going to fix that as well as you go through. So let's think about this a little bit as you're going through. So I want to get there over an hour prior. Now, let me give you another one too. The night before, I'm going to make a phone call to the owner of the house and say, hey, remember, we're doing an open house tomorrow, right? Because I did have somebody that actually showed up to the open house and the person said, oops, I forgot. Whoa. Okay. So make sure that you remind the seller. Just a little sidebar there, right? I've seen it happen. All right. So we show up, we turn on all the lights, and we make sure that it's ready. We also put a little sign on the door that says, I'll be back at 10 a.m. Let me show you why. Because that's when we put out the signs. We're going to put out, and Mark, you had this on yours, 25 signs. Well, we did 50 to 75 directional signs. I know Vicky's going, whoa, wait a minute, hold on, right? Because
wait a minute, time out.
Yeah.
Two to 3 turns, 50 to 75 signs.
Yep.
Where are you putting your signs, Rob?
As far out as I possibly can. I want to put them at every entrance to the neighborhood. I want to go, Vicky, we did this on one that was 10 miles from the interstate exit. And we put them, the signs, the first signs at the bottom of the exits that were leading to it. We had people coming saying, I just wanted to see where these signs went. 10 miles, right? So, it worked. Every 100 yards is where you want to put them. Now, there's a reason for that too, right? If we only put them out an hour before, we lose less of them, okay? And they see them because they're fresh. Has anybody ever seen a billboard go up? Have you seen a billboard go up, right? You see it and you go, yoo-hoo, yay, there's a new billboard. The day after, when you drive by it again, do you see the billboard? Because you already saw it, right? How many times have you passed the same billboard and you don't even see it anymore? That's why we put them out an hour before. And we don't lose as many when we do that. Now, as we put out those signs, let me give you a tip on the signs, by the way, too. You want to do this open house with a partner, whether it's another realtor or your mortgage partner. Hint, hint on that one, by the way, okay? But when you do it, you're both going to do it. Take an extra pair of shoes, take an extra shirt, because you're going to have somebody that's driving the car down the street. You're going to have somebody sitting in the back seat on the passenger side, and you're going to have all 50 signs behind the driver's seat. The driver's going to pull over. Use your hazards, by the way. Pull over. Person in the back jumps out, puts the sign out, jumps back in. You go to the 100 yards and you do it again. I'm just going to go. Okay. Okay. All right. So it's interesting to see what happens with this, because this is when people start seeing it. You start at the house, you start putting the signs out in all the different directions. It'll take you an hour. By the way, anybody have a teenager that drives? Okay, you can pay them to put the signs out, right? And they can make extra money, and then that becomes a tax deduction up to $4,500. Now, I'm not a CPA, but just a little consult your CPA and your tax attorney. Okay. All right. So that's a way so you don't have to do it. But when you do that, what's going to happen is people are going to start seeing your signs. They're going to start seeing your open house directional signs, and they're going to start following them. By the time you get back to the house, you've got people lined up. It's unreal how that happens, which is why you put the sign on the door with the little clock. And by the way, I've got samples of these. I'll give them all to you. And it's just a Sharpie that says, that draw the arrow just like a clock and says, I'll be back at 10, so that they're not mad. They know you'll be back in 10 minutes, right? And you've already got Sweet Caroline's coffee right there. So they're going to grab a cup of coffee. Sweet Caroline also, by the way, if you get her food truck that does coffee, is now sharing where she is with all of her social media friends that people are coming and following. Okay, so y'all are seeing how this kind of works, right? Okay, all right. So I've put out my 50 signs, up to 75 signs, could be more, depending on what you're doing. Now what happens is now you've actually got to get into relationship building mode. So people are going to come into that open house. And by the way, if you've got 25 groups coming through at a minimum, do you think you can do it alone? Everybody do this? No, which is why you want somebody to do it with you. And a mortgage person's fantastic. Here's the other piece of that too. How many of you are D personalities? Go ahead and, raise your hand. D personality. Okay, good. All right. So how many of you are I personalities? Okay. Does everybody know the difference, by the way? D-I-S-C. Oh, I got people doing that. All right. Okay. So Mindy, all right. I saw that, right? Vicky, can I go off of this topic for a second? All right. So D, Myers-Briggs, all these different personality profile types. I like the DISC test because it's really simple. You have a D, an I, an S, and a C. All right. So if you don't know what you are and you haven't done it, you have a D, an I, an S, and a C walk into an elevator. The D is the one that's pushing the elevator door button to close before everybody gets on, because they're impatient and want it to go to the top of the floor, wherever they're going, right? The I is the one standing in the middle of the elevator and holding court and knows everybody's name and is making sure everybody's having fun. All right, yeah, I see you, Mindy. Okay. The S is the one that has their arm around the door so that it won't shut, so that even the ones that are coming down that are late are going to get on safely. And the C is the one that's in the back corner of the elevator that's already evaluated everybody's weight in comparison to the capacity of the elevator to make sure it's going to get to the top. All right. So you are laughing, right? Okay. So D and I, right? So a D and I will talk to people, and S and C want people to come to them. If you can match a D and an I with an S and a C as partners in an open house, guys, you're going to kill it, because you have both personalities there that can relate to the other personalities that are like them, right? Here's the other piece of that too. When somebody walks into an open house, are they a little bit nervous? Yeah. Do they want to talk to a salesperson? No, it's just like a car dealership, right? Who's bought a car in the past couple of months? All right. So the number one time do people walk into a car dealership? Sundays. Why? Because they're closed. They're not open, right? So there's no difference when it comes to walking into an open house. They know that we are salespeople, that we are there to sell. So how do you alleviate that at the very beginning? Well, here's how. It's like, let's see, here we go. Mindy. All right. So you just walked into the open door, right? And you came into the open house because now that sign that had the time has turned around that says come in, welcome. So they automatically come in the door. If anybody done an open house and somebody's standing there and just waiting or ringing the bell. Okay. All right. So now they know they can come in. They open the door. They come in. They see you. Oh, hey, thank you so much. My name's Rob. I want to welcome you to the open house. I know sometimes it's a little bit awkward walking into somebody's house, but I want to welcome you, and I'm not going to breathe down your neck, and I'm not going to follow you around or harass you or anything like that, right? I want you to feel comfortable, see that if this is the house for you. So let me give you just a little quick layout before I let you go. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. We have behind me, we have 3 bedrooms, a bathroom, and then there's another half bath too. We also over here, this is the master and the kitchen. If you want to start in the master, you're going to go through the master, check out that closet. It's got a California closet. It's fantastic. It's massive. It's even got a seat in there. So take a look at that. Feel free to open any of the closets that you want to. And then once you come out of the master, you'll go to the kitchen. You'll see that. And by the way, my partner, Mark, is in there, and he'll be happy to answer details for you once you get in there. Now think about that conversation. 1, Did I just alleviate their fear of having somebody breathe down their neck and ask them all kinds of questions? Yeah, right? Here's the bigger piece of that. If you've got 25 to 50 groups walking through and they're running all over the place, do you have any control whatsoever of the flow? No, because notice what I did. Behind me, 3 bedrooms, bathroom. In front of me, you're going to start in the master, then go to the kitchen. So I directed them to the flow of where I want them to go. There's another piece of that too. If somebody goes through the master and the kitchen of a house, do they know if they want it or not?
100%.
Every time, right? So why would you have them start somewhere else where it doesn't matter yet? Even if you've got 15 kids, if mom and dad like the master in the kitchen, guess what? Kids can have bunks. I mean, let's be real, right? Okay. So that's the key with this. I want them to start in the master in the kitchen because one, it gets them flowing in the same direction. Because if there's another family walking up this driveway and the stairs and everything to come into the house, I don't want them going this way and them going this way. And there's absolute chaos going around in the house. I want them flowing to the house. The other piece of this is too, if there are multiple people going through the same property and they're in the same areas, and if somebody's interested, what's that build? FOMO. Yeah, exactly. You guys seeing where this is going, right? So Mark is now in the kitchen, right? So they've gone through the master, they've gone through the kitchen. So when they come to Mark, Mark says, hey, so my name's Mark. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think? Do you see yourself living here? Well, by the way, there's just a couple of answers. No, not really. I'd say it's probably like a 4, right? Okay. Or a 10. Yeah, I can see it. By the way, that doesn't happen. Okay. More than likely, 99% of the time, it's a no. But that's okay because Mark has his 3-ring binder. Well, what about it is missing? What about it made it a 4 instead of an 8? Well, I needed this. I needed this. I really didn't like this in there. You know, that's interesting. I've got a couple of options for you. Here, step over here. I've got them in my 3-ring binder. So Mark has the entire neighborhood. What's there? The ones that are available that are similar, but maybe a bedroom more, maybe a bedroom less, maybe this, maybe that, right? At the same time, Mark's asking those same questions about, so it's a 3-bedroom, you needed a 4-bedroom. Why did you need a 4-bedroom? Well, I want an office. Oh, wait a minute. So a 3-bedroom with a loft would be good then, right? See, if we don't ask the why questions, then how do we find out what they really want? Right? So Mark's got his 3-ring binder. It not only has the ones that could match, but it also has the price point below and the price point above. Because when they say, what is the price? Well, it's 300. Because remember, you got people coming in for a sign because they don't know the prices yet. Oh, that's a little bit above. Or I could go up to 350. Oh, I've got a perfect one. Have you seen this one on 123 Jones Street? Right? Well, no, I haven't. So Mark is now in the process of showing them the value of working with Mark and you. And so now he's got the options. Here's the other piece of that too. How many copies of his 3-ring binder does he have?
Just one.
1. Why?
So no one else can look at it while he's talking to someone else?
And he's not going to give it away.
Okay.
But I can send it to you if you give me your
Email.
contact information, right? By the way, here's a quick caveat too. When I'm at the front door and I'm greeting people, what's the question that I didn't ask? Okay,
If
now
they had a realtor, if they had a realtor,
Yes,
yeah, we
that was
don't
the
ask
one.
that up front. That's right.
No, I want to build
Right.
the relationship first, right?
Right.
Because just like a car dealership, if all of a sudden the salesperson's running across the lot to meet you when you open your door and they said, hey, are you here to buy a car? What do you say? No, I'm just looking. Guys, people that are walking into houses are trained just like we are to do cars, right? They're going to say, if you say, are you working with an agent? What are they going to automatically say?
Yes.
Whether they are or not, they're going to say yes, because guess what you have to do if they say yes? And you go slinking off into the corner and now you don't talk to them for the rest of the time, right? They may or may not have, but I want you to go, Mindy.
Would like a lot of agents have like sign-ins? Would you have that question on your sign-in sheet too, or not at all?
Yes. Oh yeah, I'll have it on there, but
Okay.
I'm not, but here's the thing about it. So let me give you a tip on the sign-in sheet. I want a sign-in sheet there, or even an electronic sign-in sheet. I like the paper ones, and there's a reason. Because the first 2 lines I fill out before everybody walks in the house exactly how I want the sign-up sheet completed. Ooh, wait a minute. So I want to circle no on do you have an agent? I want to put in the phone number and the email address because people follow examples, right? People want to be part of what everybody else is doing. It's natural when you do that. So I want to fill out the first 2 pieces of the sign-up sheet exactly how I want them to do it.
Smart.
Sneaky, isn't it? Right?
Mhm.
So clever.
It's human nature, right? I mean, you look at it, people are looking for status or love, right? Right, Allison? Love. Okay, right? So we're looking for that piece of it. They want to be like the other people around them, so they'll follow that process. So it's interesting to watch that process as you go through. Allison's going, yeah, right? And so you look at that, and so now Mark's got this opportunity where he's showing them the other things that are available or potentially available, but here's the other piece of that too. Mark's going to say, hey, Crystal, because now he's got the name, he's building this relationship. Have you seen 123 Jones or anything? No, I haven't. You know, we finished the open house at noon. It'll take me about an hour to clean up here, but I could go ahead and set up an appointment and show you that one and also the 2 others that we have that could match what we were talking about. You would do that? Of course I would.
Yeah.
Right? So you go through this process, and it's critical to keep this piece too, because when you're doing the open houses, if you do them correctly, and keep in mind, it's about getting as many people through the open house as possible. But once you do that, you've got to make sure that it's a controlled opportunity. And that's why you also want the D and the I and the S and the C, because who's at the front door greeting everybody?
The I.
The D and the I. Who's behind the counter at the kitchen showing the details?
The D.
The S and the C.
No, the SNC.
Right. Exactly. Makes sense, doesn't it? Right. So
Not to
you want that
Mindy.
person. Yeah.
Mindy, the D and the I is one person. The D and the I is one person, and the S and the C is one person.
Yes. Correct. You got it. So I mean, it could be a D at the front door and a C in the neighborhood. It could be an I at the front door and an S in the neighborhood, whatever it happens to be. Right. As long as there's one of those, because the D and the I will go talk to people. The S and the C want people to come to them. Everybody that's an S and a C, you're going, yeah, right. I want people to come to me. Okay,
Well,
that's just.
I have a
It's
question.
natural. Yeah.
Didn't you say not too long ago that the best 2 people to be at an open house is a D and an I? So why wouldn't you have
No,
D
one of
and I?
each. So I want a D and an I, either or, and I want an S and a C.
Oh,
Either
I
or.
missed that. Okay.
So a D and an S, or an I and a C, or a D and a C, or an I and an S. Right? I want to lump the D and the I and the S and C together, and take
Okay.
one of each.
I have a
That makes
question.
sense. Yeah, Annika.
So what do you do when you personally are a DS?
Which one are you more naturally suited to? Do you want to go and be the person that's at the front door, or would you be more comfortable behind the kitchen counter?
It depends. I can go with either one. I'll show you around and wheel and deal you the house all day long, but you're going to fill that sign-in sheet correctly when you walk in the door too. And I will point it out to you if you happen to miss it.
Then you be in the kitchen and get
Okay.
somebody else to do the thing, in front, right? Because you want the rah-rah person. You want that person that is going to be fun, that is going to have everybody engaged coming in the front door, that's also going to be able to direct them with authority to which way you want them to go.
Okay.
Right? Because that's critical. That piece is, guys, you would be amazed at how critical that piece is to get them all going in the same direction for many, many reasons. So now, as you've got this going, now you've got the system going through, right? You've got this process of everybody that's coming through. Now they're going in the same direction. Now you're letting them relax before they ever get to your partner in the kitchen. So now they're feeling more at home. They know that you didn't come in and go, hey, you got an agent, you want to work with you, right? I mean, that's not the way to do that. So now they're a little bit more relaxed. And when they get to the kitchen, they know if they want the house or not. They do. If you walk through a kitchen and a master bedroom, everybody does. Right? So do that process. Now you have an opportunity to find out what they want, where they want to go, and start building the process of showing them what they potentially want. Make sense? Yes? Okay, cool. All right, so you've done that. Now you've gone through, you've had 25 to 50 people, you're collecting all the info, all the names, all of those different pieces as you go through this process of, let's say that you just had 10 people walk through. You know, worst case scenario, you only did half the signs, maybe you got 10 people. If you do this and follow this process, and now you've built a relationship with people, you've let them get comfortable, do you think that you could probably find just one person out of those 10 that is somewhere within a 30, 60, 90 days? As there's probably more, but if they walk through an open house, they're looking for something. If they've taken the time to do that and to get out of their car and to come into the open house, they are looking for something. They really, really are. If you allow yourself to build the relationship, ask the questions, find out who they are, what they're looking for, where they are, oh my gosh, you're going to have a different result because you're not being that, hey, come on in, you know, welcome to my open house. All right, what are you looking for? Ask questions, okay? Ask questions, find out why, find out who they are. Find out what they're truly looking for. You know, if they say 4-bedroom, 3-bath, why 4-bedroom? Well, I need an office. Oh, so a loft could work, right? Because that changes your parameters, doesn't it? Ask these questions, go deep, and build the relationship with them because no one else is doing it. No one else is doing this process. No one else is asking them those questions to build the relationship of what they really want and what they're truly, truly looking for. We're all stopping at 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. We're not asking why 4 bedrooms, right? We're not asking why this neighborhood. Well, because my kids are over here. We're not asking why this neighborhood. Well, because it's close to the trails and I go run, or I mountain bike, or I have this activity or this activity. Ford, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, right? When you talk about those things, you're all of a sudden building a relationship that most people aren't doing anymore. COVID has set us back in a relationship building state. It has declined our ability to have conversations. It really, really has. So, all right. So then you finish the open house. You've got all your people. You've got an appointment set up. Probably both of you have an appointment set up, right? And you're going to follow up with the other ones. And then you're going to go take your signs up. You're going to make sure everything's done. You're going to do all of those different pieces as you go through the process, clean it up and go. By the way, you probably didn't lose a whole lot of signs because you only put them out like 3 hours before. You don't have the neighborhood police or the neighborhood, you know, HOA coming through getting them because it's there, right? You already did it. Now you got all your signs back, put them in the car, do your follow-up, go show, go sell, and repeat next week. Or repeat on Thursday night from 4 to 6 when people are driving home. All right. How's that?
That's good stuff.
Yes, it is. So good.
So we're going to open it up to questions. If you have a question, then raise your hand so we can call on you and just kind of keep the flow going. I do want to say I love this idea. And one thing that I kind of tweak a little bit on my open house strategy is to, when I'm doing those invites to invite the neighbors over, I give them a 30-minute exclusive preview. Like, hey, before we open it up to traffic and have a whole bunch of people in, I'd love for the neighbors to come over first to get an exclusive sneak peek and have a chance to walk through it before we get busy. And then they feel like, wow, that's really cool. And you actually took the time to invite me and are giving me an opportunity to come early. That's so neat. They kind of feel appreciated. Cody, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I've done a lot of open houses before. I'm just curious, if you bring a realtor partner with you, how are you divvying up the leads as most of them are going through quote unquote Mark, right?
Oh, fantastic question. Make sure that you have that conversation with your partner prior. I have seen working together on each of them and splitting them. I have seen, okay, you get this one, you get that one. I have also seen where you will work with the ones who you build a relationship with. Now think about that one, right? Because if you're a D who are you going to get along with the most?
Other Ds.
Another D. If you're an S, who are you going to get along with the most?
Mhm.
Okay. If you're a D, who do you not want to work with? A C. No offense to the C, right? I mean, seriously, right? If you're an S, who do you not want to work with? A D, right? All right. So when you look at that, Cody, have the conversation with your person, which is also on the other side of this. Why I love to have a mortgage partner as my partner in an open house, as opposed to necessarily an agent. Because here's the other advantage to that one. One, you're both working the same, doesn't matter, right? Two, do people look at a mortgage person the same that they look at us? Nope, they don't. So that mortgage person has an opportunity to also build a relationship and be your third party validation, right? Because that mortgage person, you know, if Vicky's my mortgage person, Vicky's going, oh my gosh, you got to use Rob, right? Right. Every time they have a conversation. The other piece of that is I'm saying, oh my gosh, Vicky's fantastic. She did this, right? So it's that third party validation piece that works really well, that is more difficult if you have another agent there. Now, it's okay either way, and they both will work, but just make sure you have the conversation, the agreement prior to walking in the open house.
Well, if you do that, then you would definitely want the lender to be at the front door and the realtor to be in the kitchen.
It doesn't matter either way.
Yeah, either way. I think either way.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't
Because
get
if the
hung up on that
lender-
one.
If the lender gets that relationship going, they're obviously going to say, well, Mindy's my real estate partner, so together we're going to take great care of you. They're not going to give them to another realtor
Yes.
if they know
And
what's
that's
good
your-
for them.
Well,
Right,
I
guys?
was saying
Yeah.
with your binder and your houses, and a realtor would know more about that than a lender would. That was my correlation with it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And or you know, the lender could have a little bit different question too when they go into the kitchen. Do you like it or not? Yes, no, great. Are you ready to, you know, what are you looking for? Great. Have you been pre-qualified and pre-approved? Right? Have you gone through that process? Are you paying cash? Are you getting mortgage? They can have that kind of a conversation as well.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, that's a good point too. It works either way though.
Okay, cool.
It's more of a personality than it is anything else. Because the lender, if they're in the kitchen, can say, hey, I haven't seen all of these, but I know that these are here. And by the way, let's look through these. Oh, this one looks like it would good. I bet you that I can get Mindy to go show you these when we finish. Oh, really? So yeah.
Okay.
What else?
Who else has a question?
What do you guys think? Who's doing it?
So here's a challenge I want to ask you about. Right now, Epic is a new company. We're growing. We don't have a whole lot of Epic listings yet. Rob, have you ever had any experience or success with hosting listings for builders, for sell-by owners, outside agents? Talk about that. Give us
Yes.
some ideas here.
I love for sale by owners and doing it for them, right? Because they don't know how to do it and do it well. If you can have and do this and offer this for a sale by owner, they are yours, right? They are absolutely yours. Builders are fantastic as well, depending on states for the other agent that's
Right.
not there. Now, if it's an agent in your company, yeah, no issue, right? Easy, right? If there are some states that allow you to do other companies' listings. Now, not all states, and I know Tennessee doesn't allow that, right? So, or does it, or do they?
You can in Tennessee.
Yeah, but you can, but that's also, keep this in mind too. We used to do that when you know, we wouldn't have one in an area, and I'd go borrow one from somebody, and I'd build a relationship with that agent that was not with me. Do you get that? Did you break?
Oh, I see what you're saying there. Yeah, it took us all a minute, but I think we all just caught up.
Catch, there you go.
I
Wow,
didn't
you're going to come
either.
over here and do this for me? Oh my gosh, nobody even in my office has ever asked to do this for me. We work together. We're a team. Let's change the industry. But I love FSBOs and builders. They're outstanding, especially small builders, because they don't have a marketing team. It's usually the builder that is the marketing team.
So one of our agents that is in my organization, I don't think he's on this call today though. He has a great strategy too. He has those little mini plastic clipboards you can buy for $1 at the Dollar Tree. You don't have to go spend a lot of money. He puts his sign-in sheet with a survey of the house on the clipboard with a pen, and when the prospective buyer walks in, he hands it to them and he says, "Hey, if you don't mind, the owner would really love your feedback, and be honest. It's just going to help them. If this house isn't for you, just be honest with your feedback. It's going to ask you to rate these things on a scale of 1 to 5 or whatever. And we really value that feedback, right? And if you don't mind, what happened here? Something happened here. Oh,
No, I should look.
I was like,
Look.
what just happened?
Look. See
And if
that
you
right
don't
there? See that
mind,
clipboard?
yeah. If you don't mind, just turn that back into me whenever you're leaving, and I'll collect them on your way out. Because he says it's like having an invisible leash, right? It's like they have to come back to you because you've asked them to hand it to you personally on their way out. So they can't sneak out. They've got your clipboard, right? Now they might lay it down on a bathroom counter and sneak out the door, but if you're standing at the front door, you're locked there. You're going to catch that clipboard on the way back. And then on that clipboard, he has his question at the bottom: your name, your phone number, email, are you working with an agent? Those kind of questions. So anyhow, I like that idea instead of having a sign-in sheet on the kitchen counter, because like you said, Rob, if the kitchen's their second place to go and they walk through, then they go to the backyard or the other bedrooms and upstairs to the bonus room, they're not going to go back and then do a survey back in the kitchen. They're not going to backtrack. So I like the idea of doing the clipboard at the front door.
Yep, that's what we had too. Yeah, and you get the feedback that you can give to the seller, because one of the biggest complaints from sellers is what? No feedback. What they think?
Right.
I don't know. They didn't like it. Right. So now feedback. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you play music? Do you have good smelling foods? What do you do? How do you set the vibe for your open house? I like having a little background music so people feel comfortable talking.
Yep.
Talk
Love
about
the
that.
background music. We would also bake cookies. My wife's standing here. She's laughing because she remembers going through all these processes, right? We would do some kind of cookies or some kind of a little snack that would get the house smelling correct. And then we had air freshener. We had our box of stuff that we would have, our open house box, and it would have our little signs in it, have our clipboards, all that kind of stuff. It would have air freshener, right? Carry air fresheners, sprays, all that kind of, because you never know. And then the other thing that you want to put in your open house survival kit is a roll of toilet paper, especially if you happen to be going into a vacant property.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Jessica, you've got your hand up.
Yes. In regards for the conversation with working with new construction builders, like that has been one of like my greatest bucket list of all to be able to accomplish with working with them. But the issue that I'm having is being able to find those small developing construction companies to help facilitate, the sale of the property being sold.
So how do you go find them?
Mm-hmm. I know Google's there.
You look at the Association of Builders and find the list that's in your area.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Here's the other piece about builders though too. Obviously a DR Horton or something like that is not going to want you to do this, although you'd be surprised. Sometimes they could, right? So don't count it out. Just, you've got to build a relationship. If it's a big one, you want to build a relationship with the on-site people, because they all have on-site people. So build a relationship with that person, because most of them can't sell. If somebody doesn't want that home property, they can't go outside. So who's their partner? You, if you build a relationship and you bring people to them. So if you find the list, have conversations with these builders, because the ones that are smaller, they have a marketing budget. They all have a marketing budget of some kind. And if you have it, and if you show them what you're going to do, and especially going through this process, here is my open house process. And by the way, let me show you this real quick. I'll drop this in the chat too. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Here is the checklist and your scripts.
Awesome.
Okay. So I'm going to drop this in the chat, and also, Vicky, I'll send it over to you as well. Plus, I've got
Yeah.
Canva templates for like the door hangers and things like that. Send them out.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'll
Okay.
put everything in our Power Player group on Agent Portal. So if you're not yet a member of that group, go find it. That's where this recording will be posted and where this marketing material will be posted. Thank you very much, Rob.
You got it. There's the, I just put the checklist in the chat.
And Mindy, you've got your hand up. I know we've got just a couple more minutes.
Yes, I just have a question, really for Mike Blake real quick. He put something in here. He said you can always do lots of geo marketing for the open house and get massive amounts of people. Over my career, I got 40% of my deals from open houses. What is geo marketing?
So
Area.
that's for Mike Blake, though. Do you want to, Mike, you're on mute. You want to come off mute and explain what that means to Mindy?
So somebody said that they can't put signs up. So you can kind of geo-fence the whole area and run ads in it. You can do it both on Google and on Facebook.
Okay, so you were talking about the social ways. Yeah, because it was in correspondence to that question. So I was like, oh, is there something? Okay, I got it now. Awesome.
Yeah, so I've always done online marketing for ours, and you can drive massive amounts of people, but you have to pay a little bit of money that way.
Yep.
Got it.
Hey,
Okay.
for whoever asked about the agent agreement, I just found mine. There you go. I just put it in the chat too.
Could you share it also, Rob?
Yeah, hold on here. Let me show you this. So this was how do you split the leads?
Oh.
Okay, so your conversation, your lead, share all leads equally. Alternate greeting people as they come in the door, and that's your lead, or give referral fee. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways you can do it. Okay, I like that. That's nice. If you have more than one agent at an open house, I think having that clear understanding up front is going to solve a lot of heartache later.
You have to.
100%.
You have to. Please, you have to if you're going to do it with another agent.
Yeah, yeah. Clear understanding. All right,
Yes.
It is 9:30. So does anyone have any other burning questions for Rob, or was this good?
So good.
Yes,
is
Rob, thank you so much. And Rockstar
pleasure.
So
Agent is
good.
his coaching platform. So y'all can Google Rob Tucker Rockstar Agent if you want to learn a little bit more about him and his coaching platform too. I'm going to give you a plug there, Rob. So we appreciate your time.
I'm hoping to have a good conversation with Josh next week.
Okay. Hey, I love that he wants our agents not to just be a place to hang their license. He wants them to really be successful, profitable, producing realtors, and he's pulling in all these great coaching teams to help his agents. So I love that.
Well, to me, and I'll tell you what really got me is when they were talking about the we, not me, right? That piece of it. And then having almost a director of retention, not a director of growth.
That's right. Yes.
Because guys, there's so many places, and we've all seen them. It's you throw it against the wall, see what sticks, and it's a numbers game. And that's what I don't feel that here. So
yeah. Amen. There's a plug for Epic. So now we got a plug for Epic too. Okay. Well, you guys, thank you, everyone. I hope everyone has a really good weekend. It's not too late to go out there and get that open house scheduled for Sunday. If you feel inspired, go do it. Spring is in the air. We got to start pumping up some business for spring and summer, filling our pipelines, getting some closings. And why? Why is that important? So you can buy company stock at 53 cents a share with a 20% discount before we go publicly traded, so that you're growing future wealth. This open house could be worth way more revenue than even the commission you're going to get from it if you do it right.
Yeah.
All right, go get it.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you guys so
my
much.
pleasure. Mark,
Thank you so
hopefully
much.
I lived up to your reputation.
You did good.
You did really good, Rob. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing this today. I appreciate you, and I'll see you all next week.
Awesome. Vicky, I'm gonna log off, and then you want to just log back in on the same one?
You got it. Okay, bye.
All right. You got it.